the Jacksonville Jaguars and the Detroit Lions are squaring off in the little shootout that could in Detroit. Riding out Trevor Lawrence's career Week 12, Jacksonville arrives in town as 1-point favorites, Patrick Corain. There's a lot to unpack here, but let's start in the Jaguars receiver corps that has seen Zay Jones making a move. Is he really threatening Christian Kirk? I think we probably all vote no on that.
No, he is. He definitely is. So I have this metric. It's a scaled version of Ben Gretch's weighted targets per out run. It's scaled to the yards per out run scale. So expected yards per out run. Christian Kirk is at 1.77, which is like, if you have a 1.77 yards per out run, that's like, okay. It's not great. It's not bad. Jones is at 1.75. They're seeing basically the exact same volume on a per route basis, and they're running the same amount of routes, more or less. Kirk is at 95% route participation. Zay Jones at 92%. So Kirk has like a very tiny lead in both metrics. He also has a slight lead in first read target rate, but they're essentially like, I would say the number one options here. They're not like, even calling Kirk the 1A to Jones 1B is kind of like just because he's Kirk. There's not really any
because he does actually make big plays. He scores touchdowns. Zay is really kind of captain of 8 catches for 60 yards, which is useful in fantasy. But
outside of times he goes 10 for 140, he's mostly.
Well,
didn't he just see 14 targets?
Besides his best game,
I mean, why are you taking that away?
All those other games,
which was, by the way, last week.
I will say I'm the only one who's been ranking Zay Jones as someone like actually catching passes. By the way, let me just say that I've been on the Zay Jones beat for weeks here.
Is that true?
Once all year.
Is that true, Pat? Do you know where I had Zay Jones ranked last week?
Tell me.
I don't know. I was hoping.
The guy was like wide receiver 38. No, the industry has not. They seem slow to adapt, slow to accept our new Zay Jones reality. Which Crane?
Josh Norris has been on it since the preseason. That's it.
He's
never heard of him.
The only guy who likes Zay Jones more than Derek Carr is Josh Norris. So
I like Zay Jones more than whoever hands out the money in Jacksonville.
Yeah, man. I tell you what, Zay Jones must be a hell of a leader because
he's done well for himself.
He sure has.
So anyway, okay, it is bad actually, is what you're saying though. But I mean, it's
not good for Kirk. Yeah, I mean, it probably also just points to the fact that Kirk is not really a number one.
Yeah,
right. Never has been at any point in his career. Never profiled like he would be.
Other than one day in March,
he sure did. But yeah, I mean, he's he's kind of a number 2, like a really, really good number 3. But I don't think we can rely on him as like the clear number 1 or even the 1A here.
He just never ever seemed to know what to do with the guy. I will say, even when Zay Jones, I don't know, he didn't have. I was thinking of 2 weeks ago where Kirk had a big game.
I feel like we're talking a little bit too down on Christian Kirk. I mean, I know that this could slip away in the coming weeks, but he leads the team in air yard share and target share. He's 9th among all receivers in targets per route run since week 9. Like, I know it's been up and down a little bit, but I'm good. I really like Christian Kirk's spot this week. I'm sure you guys do too.
Then he has 7 tutters too. You buried the lead. 7 tutties.
I don't even.
Yeah, I'm being overly negative in him in regards to his lead on Zay Jones, but I think it's a great matchup for it. Like, but he barely has a target share lead. I have it as both at 23%, 29% to 25% in air yard share. So it's like, I'm just kind of saying like, he's not a clear-cut alpha at all.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
But as a matchup-based bump on this passing game, as potential double stack partner,
that's what I'm saying.
Yeah. He does have almost 200 more yards than Zay Jones, which does matter.
But Zay Jones
played one more game.
Has he played one more game? Oh my god!
Yeah, and Zay probably would have gotten the 200 yards in that one.
Yeah, it was a 200-yarder one.
So, of course, he's played one more game. But anyways, a lot going on with this Jags team. Kyle, Travis Etienne popped up with the worst possible injury designation for a Lisfranc survivor in Week 12. Departed with his foot. They claimed
in hand, with his foot in hand is how he departed.
They claimed it was purely precautionary. He is practicing. I guess we think he's going to play, but do we think he's going to cede more work than usual to Jamichael Hasty?
I would think not. I actually do kind of buy the fact that it was a pretty precautionary approach. I mean, obviously you just have to take Doug Peterson at his word, but he did say that Etienne was cleared to return in that game and they just held him out just to be safe. Then we saw a limited practice start the week, which like players who are just completely fine get limited practices, let alone a guy who we thought might be hurt. So I think he's probably fine. Then beat reporters, we haven't gotten the injury report as Thursday, said he was moving fine in practice Thursday. He was dominating stuff up since that final game James Robinson was on the team, which he was hardly on the team for that final game anyway. So I think he looks healthy. They've been giving him a ton of work. And last week, maybe it's just the hopium in me that I want Travis Etienne to be a thing, but every sign points to him still being a thing. So I don't think it's going to be much more work than usual given away to Michael Hasty. And although it's a good matchup through the air for the team, also a good matchup on the ground. So I'd have no hesitancy firing up this week.
Jaguars have also been pretty balanced. So I think this is like, I mean, I hope he doesn't get steamed, but this is a DFS spot where I'm like kind of excited to go to Travis Etienne if everyone's gonna play Christian Kirk like a bunch of donkeys.
Well, Etienne could be under rostered due to injury fear, obviously. So a pretty interesting Week 13 DFS.
Yeah, wait. As the host or a guest or whatever you call me on this podcast, someone who'd love to play Etienne, he's really hurt, guys. I don't even know. Hey, don't worry. Don't put him in your lineup. Don't worry.
There you go. You heard it here first from DFS expert Kyle Expert. Denny, it's a high total game. We're expecting to be a high scoring game, but are there any Lions pass catchers we can really rely on beyond Amon-Ra St. Brown, who has finally gotten healthy and is just dominating again over the past 3 weeks?
There's a guy named DJ Chark, folks. He is playing. Last week, he ran 80% of the routes against the Bills. He caught 2 of 5 targets for a whopping 16 yards and a touchdown against Buffalo. He remains the team's best downfield threat. So if you think this game is going to go back and forth, if you think, as the kids are saying, it's going to pop off, then, I think Chark could get involved here. He had the second most air yards for Detroit in Week 12. Before his Week 4 ankle injury, he led the team in air yard share, 35% of the air yards, in fact, in those first 3 weeks. And he was targeted downfield more than anyone else. So he still profiles as the only game in town if they're going to go deep, if golf is going to go deep. Very thin play, but I think that if this game goes back and forth, he could be okay, for 14-team leagues maybe.
Wanted to open this one up to the floor. DeAndre Swift has been removed from the injury report altogether. He played more in Week 12. He was playing like really high-value snaps, getting some high-value touches, even though the overall touch count wasn't quite what we want to see. Is there anyone kind of getting back on the DeAndre Swift train as we get close to the fantasy playoffs?
I'm not bullish on him. Does that make sense? I mean, I feel like his usage was not horrible. I mean, I know that Jamaal Williams gets all the goal line stuff. I get that. But like they missed DeAndre Swift on a touchdown on a wheel route. He had one called back because his knee scraped the ground when he bowled over 3 guys into the end zone. He caught a 2-point conversion. He had 3 high-value touches last week. He's finally not hurt. The Jags give up the 5th most running back receptions. Folks, I'm building a case for DeAndre Swift if you feel like playing him this week.
I think he's capped at about 50% of snaps. He had 34% last week, so that would be a big increase. But then Justin Jackson had 25%. So if Justin Jackson gets down to like around 10%, Williams is still going to be involved around 40. I think maybe he gets to 50% of snaps, but you need him to run really hot. 50% like, snap share.
When 50% is the optimistic case, it is tough sledding out there. Like when you're like, oh boy, I really hope he comes close to seeing the field half the time. And maybe Godspeed, he could push for 10 touches. He hasn't topped 10 touches since Week 1. Like, of course I want DeAndre Swift to be a thing, but like Lions maybe this is finally it. He's finally healthy for real this time. It counts though. But I don't know. I've been beaten into submission by them giving Swift no actual like volume.
Well, it sounds like since we're finally giving up on him, he will, of course, go off.
Right.
I'm not giving up. I think if you have him and you're torn between him and I'm trying to think of like another like.
And I would play him over Gibson and play him over.
What about Pacheco? You guys were bullish on Pacheco. You playing?
No, I have Pacheco a few spots. I have a few spots. Have Pacheco a few spots ahead of Swift still.
In PPR, I would be pretty torn on that. I think I might go Swift.
I do on Thanksgiving. against the Bills, one of the best teams, they were, anytime there was like an important third down or something, they were getting DeAndre Swift out there, and they were usually giving him the ball.
I feel like it was way more positive last week than it has been. It's been dismal. It's been
dismal.
Very dark lately.
It's been very, very dismal.